to the Unconstitutional Awakening program.
Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
Brought to you by KD Consulting Redesigned.
Ahoy, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unconstitutional Awakening. I got something really cool planned for you guys tonight. You know out there that I'm into like herbal type stuff and, natural living and kind of off the grid stuff. If you followed me for any time, I have a whole little homestead going on here. And so I found some amazing people on TikTok to come and join me tonight. And let's, have a good conversation about holistic health and victory gardens and living naturally, because I think if we attach closer back to earth, that we can find our true purpose instead of, feeding into this technology machine that we all feed into it here currently in this modern world. And so tonight I've got from TikTok, of course, NonniMoose. You can't see her, but the folks out there that can hear and such too, I advise you to go, follow her. I'll have her stuff out there for her. She's got some great content on there, and I love watching it. Then, of course, I have I'm gonna butcher it, even though I've tried to say it not to, but Aurela. See, I knew I was gonna do it anyway. And she Aurela is into holistic health and natural, just like herbs and natural eating and stuff like that. I've been following her now for a little bit, and I've been watching how she has, from what she says, turned her entire health around thanks to going back natural. And that is something I'm, big time into, and I'm always pushing being into natural stuff myself. And of course, lastly, on the screen, of course, you got her up there as Grow Food Now, but she has these websites that are about about bringing back the Victory Garden. And I'm sorry, could you tell everybody your name?
Danni Ve. Danni Ve from Victory Gardens Revival, #Grow Food Now.
And of course, every one of these people I found via TikTok, and they happen to follow me. And so I think anybody that follows me is worth talking to, because I'm just some weird dude in a pirate hat. So
yeah, but it totally works for you, man. So keep doing it.
Totally. Thank you.
You're killing it.
So I want to start the evening off. I want to come in here and ask Aurela, so what brought you into this world? What got you into this kind of lifestyle?
Yeah, it started about 2015. I was sick. I mean, I was not sick. I just had some tests done, and my pep test came back abnormal. And my doctor advised I need to move part of my cervix. And then I was a little skeptical because I was feeling great and everything. And it was the timing that I was looking into eating more healthy and the organic, which was still too early. Not a lot of people was going organic, but for some reasons I was exploring. And I told him, is this an emergency? Do I need to have the surgery now, or can it wait? And he's like, you can wait 6 months and a year, but I would advise you to. So anyway, I did my research, and I stumbled across some people that have healed themselves naturally with food. And I always have been on a healthy eating. I grew up in Albania, and we have Mediterranean healthy diet. Ooh, so still, I was eating healthy, but I was like, I guess there is room for improvement. And I learned it's not just food, but there is always other things that like it's stress, it's how much you move your body, like I said, nutrition, and then how much you get in nature, the sun we get the vitamin D, or even our emotions, or our self-realization, like knowing yourself, where you are in life, are you being who you really are? All of these affect your body, affect how you think about yourself and how you feel. So anyway, I was working with a naturopath at the time, and then again, I was going into my a spiritual journey at the same time, because when you get sick, you can help, but your spiritual journey, figuring out what is going on, not with just your body, but overall. Anyway, with her help, and she turned me into vegan. I was eating meat at the time, but was still organic chicken or wild fish. So she just told me, in the time that you're gonna heal, I advise you to go vegan. And I did. And after 3 months, my PEP test came back negative. And then after that, after a few years, I was diagnosed with a gallbladder sludge. And I went to the doctor again. Yeah, I had panic attacks during the night. And I went to the doctor. And then he said, you have to remove your gallbladder. And I said, well, I've healed myself before with the help of a naturopath. Can I try that? And he was very skeptical. That was the first time the doctor laughed in my face. And he's like, no, he's like, food has nothing to do with it. You have to remove it. I was like, I didn't like him. And I said, I'm not coming back to you. I didn't tell him that. But I said, well, I trusted myself, because I said, even if I don't, give me 6 months. Even if I don't, the surgery is there. I can do it. Unless, like, mine wasn't like every night. So it wasn't something that I really had to do it right away. So anyway, I pretty much did the same thing. This time I did it by myself. So I researched again, and I used her protocol type of, like what I learned from her and what I've researched, and what I always follow, listen to my body. And that's one thing that I try to teach people, that everybody is different. What helped me might not help you. It might, but might not. There are things that everybody's body is different. We're built differently. So you have to listen to your body. That's one thing that I really learned. And I practice almost every day with myself. If I have some discomfort, or something doesn't feel right, and I say, what do you need right now? What my body needs? And I go through all the pillars of wellness, what affects us overall. And then I say, what happened to me like 20 minutes ago, or a day before, or did I sleep well? All these questions. So that helped me. So the second time I healed myself again. I went to the doctor, did the test that he did for the gallbladder sludge. I think it was 3 months after, between 3 and 4 months. And then it was so funny, because I did the test. I went home. The next day they called me. And you know, when the doctor calls you a day after you have a test, I was panicking. I said, oh my gosh, something bad on the test. So he said, you have to come back, because I think we did a mistake with your test. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I think we must have mixed up your test. I don't think it's yours. I'm like, okay. So I went again. They did the ultrasound. And the guy that was doing the ultrasound, he's like, yeah, there is no sludge. And the doctor said, I don't think it's hers. You might have mixed it up. So that's why we called you back. We wanted to redo the test. So they did it. There was no sludge, or it's like very minimum. You cannot even tell.
Yeah.
And I was like so happy. And that was the time when I said, we can heal our body. I'm not telling people stop the medications and everything. There is a place for that. If you have to do that, do that. But don't forget the power of nature, the power of plants, and most important, your power. We as people have the power to heal ourselves. We are human beings, that we are spiritual beings, but nature is our medicine. So anyway, so that's what happened since then. And then the TikTok and social media came, and I was sharing with my friends a little bit on my family, and they said, you have to spread the word because other people need to know and need to something happen here.
I opened the screen up so that I can share everyone. So
I was confused too.
No. For the folks out there that are watching,
I was like,
of course, I like to pull up the screen. Everybody out there listening, I'll have this link out there for you to check out. This is, of course, her TikTok, and this is, funny enough, I found her through people tagging me in in a video that she had shared. My voice tends to get around, I've noticed. People like my voice more than they like my face, and that's totally understandable. And so some people were tagging me one day, and I was like, hey, that's my video, and so, or that's my voice or whatever. And she was like, this was great information. And I was like, thank you. And so after talking to her, I, of course, had to invite her on over here. And I've been flipping through her page since then. And she has some just excellent content and excellent advice out there. She finds a way to put it into words where I can't half the time. You folks don't realize a lot of times when I'm coming off the hip like this, there's no telling what you're going to get because this brain's moving 90 and nothing. So,
oh yeah.
But I've always been drawn to, natural type stuff. We have several naturalist books around this house, different plant identifiers and stuff like that. And, we grow a lot of things, grow a lot of herbs, and, I'm not so much like I do the vegetables and stuff. Don't get me wrong. But since I have so many chickens and meat hogs out here, I do a lot of swapping for meat because people will gladly trade me for, a big old bag of meat, a ton of vegetables. So it's, it's pretty common, but we do a lot of the,
that's what we need to do.
Sure.
Exactly.
No, I have a big trust issue with the government and the grocery store. If you followed me for any time, you definitely heard that. And
yeah,
and I try to avoid the grocery store as much as plausible. Sure, of course, there's things I still need to get, but I have to be picky. I do a lot of my shopping at farm stands, and I do a lot of trading with people and stuff like that because I feel better knowing where my food comes from.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too.
Which totally actually brings me over to you for a moment, Danni. Like you have this whole thing planned with bringing back victory gardens like that.
I do.
Anybody is not familiar with that, it was kind of a really cool thing to do after the World Wars where people were, growing their own food at home to kind of help with things going on. And it's not really done anymore. Sure, some people try gardening every spring or whatever, maybe to success, maybe to some not, but no one puts the love and time into them that they used to, like these victory gardens that, that used to be. And she's got this whole movement going where she's trying to bring it back. So can you fill us in a little bit with what you got going on?
Absolutely. So my story is crazy and it's a little unconventional compared to a lot of other stories, but I had a series of dreams in 2019 that told me that a lot of this stuff was coming. And one of those dreams indicated that we were going to approach a famine. And on my conscience, I couldn't know that information and not do anything about it. Sure. So in the beginning, I started with just a promotion of victory gardens. I'm a history person. I'm nerdy. I love to do research and stuff like that. So I knew about victory gardens. And I said, you know what, this is what we need, because back then it was a media campaign. It was literally a media campaign that they put out. It was flyers, it was pamphlets, it was on TV, it was in kids' cartoon shows. It made gardening cool. And we don't have that anymore. Every single time you see gardening mentioned on TV, they talk about how boring it is and this and that. And they try to kind of divert the information to like away from you instead of towards you. And I know I've noticed that my whole life, but it really, when it came down to it, I had to start something. I had to do something. So I was already a TikToker. I was actually in that first wave of adults on TikTok when it went from Musical.ly to TikTok. Yeah. So I know a lot of the people who have like 1 million followers and stuff. And I just keep getting deleted over and over again because one, I believe in individuality and free speech. So when it comes down to that, if you use your voice in certain ways that they don't like, they'll delete you. And it has happened to me, either deleting or shadow banning the whole time. Especially when you talk about the food supply and the fact that, you know, people were calling me a fear mongerer, but here we are. The famine actually happened. I've been doing this for 2 years, warning people that this was coming.
I can relate to the ban thing. I think I hold a record. I am on my 21st Facebook profile.
Oh my!
And
wow!
And it is about 6 or 7 of them ago. It became a personal vendetta that I need Mark Zuckerberg to say Jim Bob Oval Shorts openly. Like, I want to hear him say it because I'm trying to be a thorn in his side to the, you know, for being deleted that much. And so I really relate to, you know, the whole truth deletion thing. Like that's and it's even more so when you're talking about food. You know, people have been conned into believing that your food is either on store shelves or out of a restaurant.
Yeah.
And
it's
a lot of your corporatized restaurants have terrible things in them, and a lot of your FDA regulated food is about as terrifying because of the things
toxic.
When you start reading,
a lot of it is.
When you start reading into things about like what's in your food and what they're adding to it and stuff like that, it's amazing to me that people have allowed it to go on this far. And I really think that a lot of the food that is marketed to everyone has a lot to do with people's poor health. I mean, we are
100%.
You know, we're not 100% perfect, but a lot less people in America today are starving than they were during, say, the Great Depression or whatever, statistically.
Yeah.
But, you know, and there's still starving people everywhere, so I'm not trying to take away from that at all. I understand. But I feel like there is a point where, you know, something was lost. Like they went from trying to feed people to trying to find ways to market off of this. Like I think, you know, this is from my perspective, and I put this out there quite frequently, that of course big pharma and big corporation like food industries are in bed together. Because lobbying and everything else that goes on. This is what they're doing there. And they feed you all this garbage to turn around and sell you their cures. And the thing about their cures is I don't know a single person that has gone on blood pressure medication and come back off if they just stuck to the medication regimen. And you know, that's a Band-Aid doesn't fix the problem. So, you know, that's what led me. And I have a very, very strong history of heart conditions in my family. And so
me too. I have a heart condition myself.
Right. I was actually born with a heart murmur. So, you know, I mean, I've had, you know, I've had my ups and downs. And because I don't want to end up with a heart attack, you know, I've always been kind of, you know, I watch my sodium intake, and I pay attention to my blood pressure. I try not to get angry and such like that as much as I can. I'm not perfect. Everybody gets angry.
Yeah, anger is a normal emotion.
Yeah, and anybody who sits here and says that they can't is full of it. You know what I mean? Like, And I wanted to get further into it. I wanted to know more about it because I didn't want to end up like my grandfather and on blood pressure medication and still having heart attacks. So, you know, I started researching into things like grapefruit and dandelion and cucumber and, you know, even further into that. And the more you get into it, and you start finding all these herbs that people consider weeds in their yard, and you're just like, this is medicine. Like this is medicine and food. Like I'm a big believer that the universe will put the food that your body needs in close proximity, as far as like, you know, like vegetables, and, you know, even some of the strangest looking plants out in the yard are actually very edible and very good for you. You're just told that it's the opposite.
Exactly. I mean, they convinced how many generations that Roundup was a fantastic idea because dandelions were somehow terrible. It's a flower. It's a pretty beautiful yellow flower. And they completely brainwashed people into thinking this is like something that is terrible. And you know what? You were talking about heart conditions. Yes. America has like the worst issue that we have is heart conditions, and dandelion is the one thing that can help that.
Yes.
Dandelion is one of the best herbs, even for lungs.
Yes.
I have it all over my garden, and I just pick it and make a salad. I never spray anything. I'm like, I want that.
No spray in my yard either.
We make tea. We make teas and stuff out of it. My wife actually owns she's a spiritual healer, and she owns a business where she not only sells homemade soaps and homemade teas and does energy healing and stuff. Like we live that lifestyle. Like we have that kind of stuff regularly in and out of the house. One of our close neighbors that lives right up the street is kind of her cohort. Like what she doesn't grow will grow, and vice versa, trying to keep up with each other and just sharing it with each other, because it's great knowledge to have. We have a very small dead-end road community of about 7 houses, and me and maybe 2 other houses aren't related. Everybody else is family, and that there's nothing wrong with that, but like it's great.
That's how it used to be.
It's great to
have back to that.
Yes, no, it's great to have this little bitty community back here, because we're all always looking out for each other. We've all got something to offer to help each other, and it's quiet. I never see any trouble back here. Sure, we all might yell at each other's kids or yell at our kids, but
it takes a village to raise a child. That's where that old saying came from families just like yours.
Absolutely. And and then I've got the largest farm per se on the street, because I do goats, I do hogs, I do chickens, I have ducks running around out there. Don't get ducks, they're assholes. I'm sorry, they just
I never wanted them. They're so dirty.
I know, I've never wanted them either.
They need water, and
I have what I call domestic wild rabbits. They're actually domesticated rabbit breed. They're the New Zealand breed, but they refuse to stay in
I used to breed rabbits.
So they just wander around the acreage out here, and they built a hut underneath my back porch, and they just kind of exist on the property. And I see them all the time running back and forth, but they don't want anything to do with like being farm rabbits. So they're just yard rabbits. They're just fine how they are. And I enjoy having them. Like a lot of my animals, I just enjoy having them. There's specific animals that are here kind of for purpose or whatever to keep it going, so they'll live a long time with me and such like that. I personally am not vegan. Like I don't eat meat like everybody else. Like I don't have to have a steak every single day, or I don't have to have chicken every single day, but I do still enjoy meat when it comes around to my plate. Like it's not a necessity for me. I believe in like intermittent fasting, and
I believe in fasting too.
And that
absolutely.
and that humans should eat when they're hungry, not just eat 3 squares of meals a day because you're told
I agree.
You should. Like that was another great scam pulled by, corporations and stuff, was the food pyramid.
Absolutely.
And the 3 meals a day, because like I don't need that much. I can't eat that much. I snack a lot. Like I eat trail mix, and I eat, like just little fruit snack, not fruit snacks, but like snacks of fruit. I like dried fruit. I use my dehydrator like crazy.
I make fruit roll-ups. Oh my gosh, they're so good.
And like that's the kind of stuff that I like to eat on a regular. And then I definitely sit down and have a meal with my family when I can. I'm obviously a really busy man, and sometimes we just eat on the passing. But like
that's what we do too.
Yeah,
we don't eat until like, well, I personally don't eat until probably 1 o'clock.
Sure.
Oh wow.
And then like maybe 5 o'clock. Sure. That's the bigger meal. Like a little bit in the morning, little bit at night.
Yeah, like I said, I keep trail mix and dried fruit close by. Like it's a go-to for me, and I think dried fruit's great. Like I love fruit, and having something wet and messy half the time on the go isn't the most isn't the best idea. So I'll dry my own fruit. I get my own granola and stuff like that, and I'll make my own trail mix up, and just
that's what I do too.
And carry around a gallon-sized bag of my own homemade trail mix, just because like whatever, it's fun to do. And so I don't mean to bounce off subject a little bit here, but I would actually like to hear a little bit from Nonni. I've followed you for some time, and of course we all know you hide your face, and there's nothing wrong with that. But
yeah, I don't know why, but I got to keep that up now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't be NonniMoose and show my face.
Exactly.
You are correct. And so, I like what you're always sharing on there. You're always sharing a lot of these, these strong type, feelings for the same kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And you seem to have like the whole homesteading idea down pat, and like that's a great, I think that's a great way to start into getting back into living more naturally, is a homestead. So could you give us a little bit of background on yourself and what you got going on there?
Well, I'm very similar to Aurela. Is that how you say it, Aurela?
Yeah, that's very pretty. I like it.
Okay. Well, except that I trusted the doctors, and I have done a lot of research. I've got a lot of health problems, and I used to have a lot of health problems. And I believe mine started. Am I allowed to say anything like the real word for jab?
Yeah. Oh, I do not censor. Everybody that listens to me out there knows I don't believe in censorship.
I say hokey pokey.
Hokey pokey. Well, I was hokey pokey injured when I was 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
So I was one of the originals, and started in the hospital with gastrointestinal problems from the time I was 7 years old, of which instead of, nobody, I mean, still the vast majority of people don't understand that, a huge amount of the chronic disease is from vaccines. But that was in the early 70s, and their answer to my gut problems was to put me on phenobarbital. So
that's super strong and bad.
Isn't that horrible?
Oh,
well, then it didn't help anything. It just kept me drugged up, and there's a lot of my childhood that I don't remember. I was drugged up all the time. And
so when did you? Step into this? Sorry.
Not for a long time. So when I was 22, I had gallbladder issues, but my whole gallbladder turned to stone. So instead of having stones, it was a stone. And it was the size of a large potato. And so they had to literally cut my chest open like they do for open heart surgery to get it out.
Wow.
And
good Lord.
When
I've known you for a while and I never knew that.
And I was 22. Wow. I mean, I was still just a child, and I had no idea what, all the doctors say that your gallbladder is a superfluous organ. Well, not so much. And God doesn't put anything in your body that you don't need.
Exactly.
But so the rest of my life has been chasing my tail, trying to get my body to work. And what has happened is they told me it was stress, and the stress was targeting organs. And I have had everything removed from me that isn't quote unquote vital. So I was in and out of the hospital. I would have major surgeries about every 18 months. And I trusted them, and I thought they were fixing me, and they were destroying me.
Wow. Oh, hon.
So I was literally 40 before I figured out, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. The last time I was in the hospital was 2014. And when they took my gallbladder out, they nicked my colon, and they didn't tell me. So I have an internal scar tissue inside of my colon and everything that causes me pain 24/7. So sometimes it gets really, really bad. And I'm a retired cop, and one day my specialty was traffic accident investigation. And one day when I was right in the middle of investigating an accident, I was doubled over with pain, and so one of the ambulances ended up taking me to the hospital.
Wow.
Oh my God.
So embarrassing. But anyway, long story short there, they told me, though, we can't do anything for you. The only thing we can do is manage your pain. And they wanted to put me on opiate painkillers for the rest of my life.
That's what they do to everyone. It's so aggravating.
It is.
So that's how I got started. I had to find a better way.
Sure.
I learned about GMOs. I went home, and once I figured all that out, I threw out everything that I had in my cupboards. I had no idea that everything in my house was poisoning me on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just started down that road, and And I think everybody here, once you go down that road,
There's no going
you
back.
go deeper and
Oh, yeah.
deeper and deeper, and another layer comes off. And
Once you're
and
awake,
then
you're awake.
Yeah.
yeah. And you know what? The thing for me has been what a burden my knowledge has been, because I have tried to save my family, my kids and everything. And I'm like, you guys, this is, I mean, they lived through what I went through.
Sure.
And I am now looked at, well, Jim Bob, everybody calls me a conspiracy theorist.
That's okay.
My tinfoil hat's like right over there.
I evolved my tinfoil hat, decided to make it a pirate hat because I was just the whole
Exactly.
the whole
I have hats
pirate
of all
thing.
kinds. She knows.
The whole pirate
wear
thing. It's actually a funny that we're saying the conspiracy thing. One day somebody thought they were insulting me and they called me Captain Conspiracy, and I was like, you know what?
That's a great
I'm
name.
gonna run with
It's a
that.
badge of honor.
And I
That's a great
went and
name.
bought a pirate hat that day and was like, that's it. That's my moniker, and I'm running with it. Like,
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Thanks,
I love it.
trolls.
like yeah, and it's just like you come up with something better, because sure, you can call me a conspiracy theorist, but there's a lot, everybody's at a different level. I've been on this venture since 2001. Like right before the whole 9/11 thing happened, I was still a kid. Right before all that happened, I was already at a point where I was getting in trouble in school because I was asking teachers when we were talking about taxes and stuff. I'm like, well, how is that legal? I thought we got rid of that and stuff, and so I'd already started looking into things, and we grew up poor and on a farm, so I already had a lot of these kind of farming skills and mostly natural stuff because of growing up, poor and farming. And I got away from it a little bit in life because I ventured to the cities, couple different countries, and it brought me back to this stuff as far as the naturalist stuff. Like I wasn't sure on it, but because again, different levels. And when I came back to it, I was just like, oh, here we go, because this is connected to this and this and this, and I really I never felt good as far as like if I got sick and had to go to the hospital and they gave me some kind of medicine. I couldn't take penicillin because I'm deathly allergic to it.
I'm allergic to so many antibiotics. It is unreal.
I had my face split in half. About 6 years ago, my face was split completely in half. They had to do emergency reconstructive surgery. I was stupid. I was trying to save a cat, and a Rottweiler and me kissed, and he took the tooth and most of my face with him, and
it just helps with the pirate look. I think it's fine.
and he and they tried to put me on pain medication and stuff, and that was actually the first time in life I had ever messed with any pain medication, because I never felt right taking pills, because anything that they gave me didn't work the way they said it was supposed to work for me. So I mean, even Tylenol doesn't even affect a headache or something. Like if I have a headache, I got to go drink some water, do some meditating, relax, unwind, because it's probably just stress. But like I got further and further into it and started picking up different books. Like again, I could go through the list, but we've got so many around this house that are just different herbalist books, and I'm bad about devouring books.
Yeah, same.
So I just started devouring them, and the more I read, the more I was like, well, this is in my yard, and well, wait, this is in my yard. Wait, this isn't.
Yeah.
It's like,
and
it's
like
just amazing.
Free money when you realize I remember like when I first started getting into herbalism, and I was walking down this trail, and there was like wild garlic right there, and like wild onions and mustard, and I was just like, I've unlocked another level. Like I went through my whole life not knowing any of this, and now that I know it, it's everywhere.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I've lucked out. When I purchased my farm property and stuff, we back up to national forest. So there's a crap ton of national forest out behind my woods. And not only do we get to go enjoy foraging for all kinds of great food and stuff, but mushroom season is amazing. Like there's
very cool.
And
those are great healers.
Loved eating on different kinds of mushrooms. People are so used to the same ones you buy in the store that have no flavor and really have no benefit, that they're amazed when you give them mushrooms that have a different flavor. And I'm always recommending mushrooms to people of all kinds, because I support all kinds of mushrooms, even the little magic ones, because there's benefits to all of that. It was put on this earth to benefit us. Yeah, we could all be living in a utopia with all these great fruits and vegetables growing around us, eating grapes off the vine all day, and instead here we are paying taxes and literally paying people to kill us. And it's insane.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely insane. And you know what bothers me too? Like, I pay my mortgage, I pay my property taxes, I pay for all this crap, and then they try to come out with some zoning laws that I can't raise my own food when they're announcing famine. Right now they're announcing famine, and there are so many people who literally are not allowed to grow their own food, even though they pay for the property. It makes no sense. It is such government overreach, and it's not okay with me. And I want those gone and across the country.
I will say, I agree with that 100% with what you're saying, but there's always look, and this is for the folks out there listening and watching, always look for an alternative answer, because sure, you might not be able to get your zoning laws changed in your town, but I can show you, and I'm sure these ladies that have been on here tonight can show you really cool things you can do with very small amounts of space, whether it be a victory garden, whether it be doing hydroponics, whether it be doing, just growing herbs in your windowsill. All of it is completely plausible. And I encourage people to look for alternative answers out there when trying to get into this kind of stuff. And it's all just tips, of course, because you got to make sure you put the disclaimer out there. I'm not a doctor, and sure, whatever. But as far as
and all of this podcast is strictly our opinions,
sure,
and that is everything
for entertainment purposes only.
For entertainment purposes only.
But as
only
as all of us sitting here, experienced people that have gone through things that Earth has helped us. Like I encourage more people to look into this kind of stuff. Like a subject I like to bring up a lot is banned seeds and like vegetables and stuff. When you get into like different almonds and different fruits and different vegetables that have been banned here, and when you get to researching them, you find out they're not banned for safety as much as they were banned because they can actually heal you. One thing I always go to, I like to talk a lot about that people don't get enough of, is B17. It is
absolutely.
It is a vitamin out there that is extremely cancer fighting, and it is extremely good for you all the way around. And it comes in different forms. Of course, the easiest form is apricot seeds, and your best bet there is to hop on Amazon because you can order them all day long. And there has literally been people that there's a man right now that's actually in jail for promoting the B17 apricot seeds. I've covered him. I've covered him before in some of my videos because the FDA went after him because he healed himself and was telling everybody he healed himself. And
I know that story.
Yeah, and it's just amazing to me that we have come to be such a civilized society that has come so far. Like America, and I'll take this shot, and I don't care if people agree with me or not, but America is some of the dumbest people on the face of this planet.
Unfortunately, and it's due to the school systems. It's due.
Oh, sure. We had a great episode a couple nights ago talking about the school systems. I actually had a ex-California school teacher and a about to graduate school student from the East Coast.
Oh, wow.
And that was one of the most eye-opening, greatest conversations I've had. And
I bet.
And yes, it starts in the school. It starts on the TV. It starts on like marketing is literally psychology. People don't understand that, but marketing teaches people how to manipulate other people using psychology. Yeah. And my grandpa always told me that if it needed a commercial, it probably wasn't good for you.
Oh, that's
he
a
was
great
a smart
thing.
man, and now I see where you get it.
And like I just, you know, I try to live by that. You know, if the McDonald's commercial is selling me garbage, you know, the Ritz crackers commercial is selling me garbage, the Wonder Bread commercial is selling me garbage. I'm on a current venture myself because, you know, modern wheat is very GMO. You know, just like modern corn, but wild wheat still exists. If you get to walking in the woods, there is wild wheat everywhere. You just got to know what you're looking for. And so I'm on a venture currently. Actually, I am going to bring artisan bread back. That's something I'm trying to do. I've been gathering up wild wheat of different kinds. Like it's because it varies. There's a couple different, you know, versions of it. But I figure that if I mix it all together, I can make myself a cool, neat little bread.
Yeah, bread TikTok is gonna love you.
And
there's a whole culture of bread enthusists on TikTok.
Oh yes, there is.
And to get away from it, because modern like store-bought bread, that I'm a very firm believer that the gluten allergy is actually caused from chemicals that are sprayed on everything, and the fact the fact that it's GMO wheat. And I think that if we got back to a more natural form of wheat, or a more, you know, like rye and stuff like that, you know, people eating actual breads, you know, you wouldn't be having these crazy, outlandish allergies to a food that literally built society. Like, I mean, brick and bread is what created society.
Yeah,
exactly.
And when it comes to those pesticides, it breaks down your gut flora, and then you don't have that good biology in your system anymore. You're getting food particles into your blood, into your muscles and your body, and they're not supposed to be there at all. But once you break that barrier down with fast food and all that kind of stuff, and like you said, anything with a commercial or whatever, you're sick at that point. And we have to think about our agriculture too. And I support the farmers 100%. Yes. But when it comes to like agriculture, we are doing things wrong.
Yes.
Yes. You're not supposed to tear up the soil. You can go over the soil. You can mulch the soil. You can do a layer of cardboard and then put mulch on and do a garden like that. We don't need to be ripping up the soil because there's this whole mycorrhizal fungi that's living under the soil. And that is really, really important for your soil health. And what we're doing is we're exposing the ground. The sun is burning all of that mycorrhizal fungi, all of the good things that are in the soil. And on the farms, what we're doing is we're also spraying pesticides. So we'll plant strawberries one year, spray a ton of chemicals on it, and then the very next year, you're doing it on the exact same piece of land. So every single year, we're spraying more chemicals on this exact same spot over and over and over. And then people, they go on a diet, they go to the grocery store, they buy all of the vegetables and all the things that they think are going to help them, and they get sicker. And it's because the ground is polluted. It's not good. It's not healthy for you.
And no plant anywhere on the earth was designed to be a monoculture. Every plant works with every other plant.
Yes.
And one feeds the soil the nutrients that the other one needs. And I mean, that was one thing that I have had so much fun learning, was foraging and how everything works together. And, you know, when I first started gardening, I was a dismal failure because I was planting all the same things in all the same spots, you know, and now my garden this year is going to be a massive, diverse thing. I'm going to just throw seeds and see.
I'm focusing on perennials. That's it. I'm not messing around with annuals anymore. It's going to be perennials all over the place.
Being down here in the Southeast, and, you know, and living so close to the woods where I am, we have a very large, we have wild muscadines and scuppernongs, which are wild grapes.
Oh, how nice.
And we have wild blackberries, like all over the place. And
I planted some in the yard. I'm so excited.
And then a bunch of honeysuckle that just grows, you know, crazy and wild around here, like right out in my backyard. All of it in bloom right now, just to go in. And I really like the wild grapes because you don't find grapes with seeds in them in the grocery store anymore. And they tell you it's because it's a safety thing, but no, it's totally because those seeds are really good for you. And,
Yes.
And these Scuppernongs and these Muscadines, not only do they make a spectacular wine, but they are just full of a great, of great nutritional value. And these are grapes that you actually still have to peel because they have a hard skin around the outside of them.
I remember them from when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorite things. Like the side of my house has a vine growing up the side of it right now, attaching to the telephone lines and such, because I just let it go. Like my goats eat the grass, so I don't really cut grass. I don't rake leaves and stuff like that because there's too much stuff living in them. And I try to keep the yard as natural as possible. You're making me
so sad right now because I had a really awesome grapevine like that in my yard many, many years ago before I was interested in having a big garden, and we chopped it out. We had an apple tree that was there for like 30 years. We had the grapevine, and we took it all out because we bought our house when we were 21. And when we were 21 and had 2 kids at the time already, we didn't want to deal with growing our own food. So I understand, because I've been on the other side of the fence of that. Like, I don't want to deal with this task. But at this point in 2022, we have to deal with this task. Everybody needs to be growing food.
I have plenty of days that I wake up and I'll open the door to head out to the farm, and I'm just like, I want to go back to bed. I don't feel like doing this today. But then I know I have to, and like I again, me being a busy man, I work a full time during the day. I deliver appliances. I deliver refrigerators all day long, and then I come home and farm, kid, animals, and then turn around and have a show to do. Like I'm just, I'm just constant on the go. And I'm so glad that my wife is so giving and so helpful here. She homeschools the kids for me, and they are constantly working on the farm and learning along the way. And I think it's all great stuff. These are great things I'm trying to instill in my kids. I want my kids to be able to filter their own water. I want my kids to be able to grow their own food or to slaughter their own
real life things.
Real life things. Because I'm pretty sure everybody can agree here, but who the hell used the Pythagorean theorem on a daily basis? Like,
exactly.
What was the point in putting that nonsense in my head and leaving it there? Like, and you know what, the World Economic Forum, I don't even know the guy's name. Even want Klaus Schwab. No, not him. The one with the bald head and the glasses, talking about how we are nothing and we are like disposable, and they're just going to dumb us down with video games. And then I look at my kids playing video games, and I'm just like, they started us off back in the 80s with like Atari and Nintendo, and they started this program then. That's the kind of stuff he's into. Like I know who you're talking about. It is Klaus Schwab. He's always talking about eating your bugs and living in your hut and owning nothing. No, it's not Klaus. I know the younger guy. It's the other guy that works with him. He works under him. Okay. Yeah, but if you watch the speech that he did, it'll blow your mind. Okay. This stuff he said about just the general population and how we're disposable. I avoid the World Economic Forum stuff because if you get me started and you get me going, like,
it makes you so angry. Yeah.
You not just that, but you guys will most definitely be visited by people you don't want to be visited just because I'm going on the rant. You guys are here with me. Like I will go off on a rant on those guys because it's just not a subject for me to get. Ooh. So anyway, let's pop back over here to the to stuff we've been talking about. And there is something that I did notice that Aurela talks about a lot, and she's talking about natural detoxing. So if you wouldn't mind, could you touch on that a little bit, on the things you've done to successfully do that?
Yeah, sure. So I've tried actually different type of detox. One time, the first time that I worked with a naturopath, she gave me some natural herbs. But I thought that was a little aggressive for my body, was going a little too fast. And now what I do, I detox with food, and I use just natural herbs and teas. And when I detox, I do like sometimes 21-day detox, and I remove as much as possible salt and I remove as much as possible oils. So to give your liver a break, and I only buy no processed food at all for these days that I detox. It's just fruits and vegetables, mostly raws or a little bit steamed. So to give your liver a little break, so when liver gets break, then it heals faster and it helps all the organs of the body heal. And also not eat so much, just to give your body time to heal, and try to fast, stop eating. I usually after 5, I try not to. And all of that have helped me, especially I do it during the spring. The springtime is the best time in my mind to heal, or to fast. And I use a lot of dandelions, like you mentioned in the springtime. It's very good for your liver. When your liver detoxes, it supports your liver. So it's a gentle detox that I do, and I advise other people to do. And again, like everybody's body is different, but if you do it just with food and gentle in your body, I don't see a side effect or harm. That's what I've done. And one time, one of my naturopaths, she gave me for my gallbladder to do that oil, olive oil, and I think lemon juice or something like that. I felt it worked at the time, but again, because gallbladder, when you eat a lot of fat, it's a little burden on the gallbladder. Sure. I thought that wasn't for me exactly. It works in sometimes for other, maybe if you have other conditions, but that's why I don't do anymore like too much of this type of detoxes. I do it gentle with food, removing foods that cause inflammation in the body, and adding more foods that are anti-inflammatory. And like I said, support the liver with herbs, herbal teas, or dandelion. And
what's your favorite? What's your number one, like, cure-all, like it makes you feel great when you do it?
You mean like a herbal thing, or just whatever?
Yeah, just to like detox. Like when you're detoxing, it's the one thing that always makes you feel better.
Right. So, like I said, I have maybe it's because of my body, or maybe with my gallbladder, because it's sensitive, my liver and gallbladder. Yeah. When I remove oil, like olive oil is extremely healthy, and you need fat in your body, good fat. But when I do the detox, meaning you give the liver and the body a little break, for me, I realize when I remove oil or minimize it a little bit, I feel great. I feel great.
Okay. Try that.
Yeah, and then I always start with lemon water in the morning.
Me too.
First thing, yeah. And
I'm sensitive. I'm too sensitive to it.
Have you tried lime?
No.
Because lime is more. It's like natural. Lemon, it's a little bit. It's man-made, but lime, sometimes it's gentle for some people. And sometimes I put a little bit of honey, raw local honey, for some people that lemon bothers their stomach. Or a little warm too, but always with lemon water for me works, or lime, I like the best. And then not start right away. Like you said, I do the fasting, not because I have to do it, but my body, I don't think I'm hungry at the early in the morning. And when I used to do like, okay, you have to eat breakfast. I grew up like that, 3 meals in a day.
Sure.
You can go to school without eating anything, right? Mm-hmm. And when I did that, I felt stuffed all the time and bloated, because you don't need that much food sometimes. Yeah. And sometimes it's better to eat a little less, but like anti-inflammatory food, healthy, raw, if possible, fruits and vegetables. And if you eat protein, animal, I advise people, even when you do the cleanse, you can have a little protein, but if it's grass-fed and organic, or like from a farmer's, it's perfect instead of getting it at the store.
Oh, absolutely. This stuff, I've got some, good horror stories out there that I've spoke on before. Because you're your processing plants are really terrible. Like everybody's been freaking out because they're like, oh, these processing plants are burning down. And I'm the guy standing in the background going, well, if this is going to get everybody off the garbage, oh, well, like, you know, because I mean, because a lot of the processing stuff is terrible. There's a chicken place down here in South Georgia that is actually a work farm for prison. And it not only does it host prisoners that are out there working, but it also hosts a lot of Asian illegal immigrants. And the horror stories that I have had come out of this place from people that I actually know from there are, I'm talking multiple legged chickens, I'm talking multiple headed chickens, I'm talking
gosh,
I'm talking 15, 20 pound chickens.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, you know, they've told me these horror stories, and I completely avoid buying them, and I'll throw one at the bus. I don't care.
I'd love to make a comment on that. And
so it's
when it comes to the food supply, what they did, I believe it was in 2020, they did all of these like emergency food protocols, right?
Right.
And what they did was they made it where chicken is now allowed to have tumors in it.
Yes.
To sell, because the supply shortage was so low that they weren't going to cull the birds that had the tumors. They were just going to serve them up to you on a plate. They also had they changed it to where they can substitute ingredients in your food and not put it on the label. That was May of 2020. I'm not sure if they've changed it since then, but I do know that there are a lot of people telling me that the food has changed. It tastes different. The texture's different. Their favorite food doesn't taste like what it used to be.
Absolutely.
And I believe it's because they have done all of these COVID measures in order to change those systems.
It's not just that. A great example I like to bring up is like Coca-Cola. It's a terrible thing, don't get me wrong. But modern Coca-Cola and old Coca-Cola are different. Not just the cocaine thing, but the change from using actual cane sugar to using the corn syrup or whatever. And if you're ever lucky enough to find yourself a Mexican imported Coca-Cola, they are still made out of the pure cane sugar, and it is a world different of a taste.
Yeah, like they sell it around Passover. Okay. Because it's kosher.
Yeah.
So Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all of these companies will switch over to the kosher model just for the holiday, and then the rest of the year they just throw the idea out the window. So it's possible for them to do it.
And
they just don't.
I'm not really a soda drinker. I can say I've been off of soda completely for quite a few years now. Like I've even tried it again, and I'm just like, oh, this is terrible, and just
it's awful once you get off it.
It does. It's just it's. I can't believe I used to drink Mountain Dew the way I used to drink Mountain Dew.
Oh my, that's the worst one.
So awful. Yeah. Right. And stupid mistakes as a kid and stuff like that. It's
they get a lot of kids addicted to it. Sure. I mean, seriously, especially in the South. I watched a whole documentary about how this whole community, they had no teeth. Yeah. And it was because the whole community was addicted to Mountain Dew. And it was so sad because these dentists went in there and like volunteered to help fix their teeth. Like that's how bad it was.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can definitely, Mountain Dew is like water around here in the South. Like they treat it like water. And again, after being off of it, I just look at it and I'm just like, how are you putting that in your body, man? Like stop what you're doing.
I'm like that with coffee. And that might be controversial. People draw the line at coffee. They're like, you are not taking my coffee away.
I get a little fidgety about my coffee. I do enjoy my coffee.
I quit a couple of years ago, and I will say it helps to calm you down. It helps your anxiety. It helps with the racing thoughts. It helps with insomnia. All of these things.
Yeah, and
when you stop drinking or eating something that you've been eating and it's not good for you, you don't crave that anymore, and your body doesn't need it. You don't like it anymore. I've noticed, like, people tell me, don't you crave like French fry or like even a steak? And I said, no, I don't eat it because, oh my gosh, I don't want to eat it because I'm gonna get sick. My body doesn't crave it anymore.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
you eat the nutritions that you from a food that you get, and your body's satisfied. And actually, sometimes when I have a French fry that is made with canola oil, I get blisters in my mouth. I don't know why.
Wow.
Yes, my body is like allergic. It's like my body tells me this is not good for you.
Yeah.
For you.
And that's actually great, because then you can avoid a lot of things, better, more so because your body automatically warns you like that.
Like like she said earlier, listen to your body. Your body will tell you when the food is not good.
100%.
Mm-hmm. And that's I find it really sad that they have gone after people through food. And there's definitely a lot of different answers out there. I believe these three ladies have great content, and of course you guys will be able to find their stuff. I'll share it for you because they've got great advice and great content out there. Now, a book that is actually kind of close to the heart for me that I do recommend to everyone, and I'm not sure if you ladies own this book or have even ever heard of it, but it is called Back to Eden. It's by a fellow named Jethro Klaus. This is a book that I recommend to everyone out there. There's 2 versions of it, so honest to God.
There's a documentary, isn't there?
There is. And honest to God, if you can find if you can find the real copy of the book, it's usually on eBay. There's about 20 or so pages that have been omitted from it because, they just didn't want that information to get out there.
Yeah.
And it's a great book. It has a lot of references. It has a lot of pictures. It has, a lot of index in there. And it even will tell you things that, different plants and different weeds will do. This is actually, I joke around and call it my plant Bible. I don't hesitate to bring it with me to places so that, if I'm trying to find things or, give somebody advice, this is the book that I go to. And,
I didn't know it was a book. I saw the documentary and he's a little, he comes off a little crazy like the rest of us do.
Sure.
But he is so wise. He is wise beyond his years, and he's definitely here to give the world a message. For sure.
And I am glad that his family continued to make sure that his book, got produced and stuff like that. Like, there is a bunch of controversy surrounding him too. Like just like when I bring up Dr. Sebi, people lose their mind about him too because there was so much controversy around him. But these people were giving good advice. They were telling people to get away from mucus creating foods and stuff like that, because you mentioned it earlier down there that this stuff builds up in your body, and it does. Like mucus is the biggest cause of disease within the human body, and the best way to get it out of your body is to float towards more herbalist type things and take your chances and choices with Mother Nature instead of chances and choices with a pill that has more side effects than you even had to begin with.
I agree. And every plant, every illness that you could possibly have has a plant that can heal it. Like usnea. I just started learning about usnea and how it's a natural antibiotic that's exactly like dioxycycline. They got dioxycycline from usnea. It grows on trees. It's abundant, and it can help so many people.
Did you know sassafras?
Yeah, sometimes I don't understand, and I say, if you trust the medicine, or you don't know, or the food that is made from others in the lab, and you don't know what's in there, why don't you give herbs and natural food a choice? It's not gonna hurt you. It might help. So that sometimes I don't understand why people. It's so hard. Like, I guess it's easy, and it's the way.
You're crazy. You're so crazy if you want to heal yourself. Like, how dare you heal yourself?
I have a good recent story with this kind of stuff, because I am, so into herbalist stuff. A good friend of mine that I work with, his mother, was diagnosed with cancer, and they were immediately to the chemo. You know what I'm saying? They always run right to that.
Yeah.
And she refrained from jumping right into the chemo and went and got herself some soursop fruit and got into that and adjusted.
Say that again. I didn't hear it.
Soursop.
Sorry.
It's soursop. It's a fruit. She went and got herself into that and into a few other herbalist things and changed her diet, and I'll throw it out there and hopefully they'll listen. His mama is doing great and they think the cancer is 100% gone, and she didn't take their scary, nasty medicine that they wanted to force inside of her. And it came from, we were sitting in the truck one day and he's like, man, this is really weighing on me. And I got to ask you, do you have any answers? I know you're into this kind of stuff. And I was like, here's a list of things that I've heard that are great and that I can recommend, and we'll see what happens. And like, him and his mom both have just been beside themselves because she is doing so much better by not listening to the people that are just trying to profit off of what's going on. Like, I am very anti-chemo. It was me too. It was found because they were mustard gassing people and stuff like that, and Agent Orange and stuff. And
that's where a lot of the pesticides come from too.
And when they start somebody on a chemo regimen, they're just trying to pump them full of as much of it as they can. They're not telling people details and stuff like that, or telling people that it's even up to them. I've known other people that have gone in there and not gone through the full chemotherapy because they realized that their body told them when it was enough and they stopped. And they ended up doing just fine. And then I've got other people that I know that are listening to every word that the doctor says and make sure that they're going to every chemo treatment, and their health is so bad right now that they're laying in a hospital bed. And it's just like, I can physically see the difference. I'm standing out here on the outside of it. I know I'm the crazy guy, but would you listen to me for 5 minutes? Like, if you give me 5 minutes of your time, I think I can try to help, show you that there is other answers. And that was a big reason I wanted to bring you ladies on here this evening, was because I feel you guys have great perspectives on this stuff and that you guys know what you're talking about. Like,
thank you.
I think that all of you have a good head on your shoulder and have all been through something that led you to this point, and you learned from it. And I hope that other people have heard what's been going on and maybe they've learned from it. And I encourage people to get the book like I brought up, and I encourage people to go to all y'all's TikToks and websites and stuff that I will be sharing so that you guys can check this stuff out, because they've got some great information and there's other information out there. It's great to dig into this herbalist world, and I just really recommend it for everybody. So now, as usual, I like to go back through, and is there anything that you guys would like to touch on that we really didn't touch on? I'm gonna jump down there and start with Danni.
I just want to encourage everybody to grow food because of the upcoming famine that they are now announcing. I've been telling the world for 2 years. It's actually a relief to me that the media is now finally reporting on the issues with the food supply, but I can tell you it's not because of the war in Ukraine. It didn't just start there. There were so many fundamental breakdowns in the food supply over the past 2 years since the pandemic started. There were a lot of natural disasters, and it's really important for us to be able to start learning if you haven't started learning yet. People get overwhelmed, and the advice that I give to people is, if you don't have the money, start cheap. There are so many videos out there on how to DIY things super cheap. A late start is better than a no start in the season. If you feel like it's too late to plant your garden,
old taters and onions.
Do it now. And something that I like to encourage people to do is get involved with your neighbors, get involved with your communities, use your voice, just like I'm using my voice to tell your neighborhood to grow food, right? So I have a campaign going on in my neighborhood. It's strictly all online, right? I'm not starting a community garden. I'm telling my whole area to grow food in their own backyards, and I'm telling them why. I would love for some people to take on the task of, if your neighbor doesn't really know how to grow, just tell them to grow tomatoes, and they only have to learn tomatoes for the year. Have another neighbor do pumpkins. Have another neighbor do a different crop. And that way you can share throughout your neighborhood, and you really don't feel that overwhelmed sensation that everyone feels with gardening. I don't know what pest, I don't know what this, I don't know how to do the soil. All of those things disappear when you work together as a community and everybody grows a little of something different. And like you were saying before, swap it, trade it, and get involved.
Yeah, and don't just think it ends with food. Like, we didn't really touch on it tonight, but all these chemicals we're talking about in your food, they're also in like your household products and your cleaning products and stuff like that.
I stay away from that too.
And there's more natural options out there. I made the mention earlier, my wife makes soaps and she makes salves and lotions and, lip balms and the whole list of stuff, because if you go and pick up that container and look at it, you're going to see so many chemicals on the one in the store that when you realize about these chemicals, you're going to be like, oh, why did I ever use that? Let me put that back on the shelf. And change, when you change your diet, also change the stuff you're using in your house, change your shampoos, your soaps, your lotions, because this stuff is hurting you too. Yeah. And there
I have lots of the DIY alternatives on my page that are all natural.
She does. She and that is something that I really like, because the all natural stuff is really the answer. Everything that they've synthesized can also be found in the store, also be found right there in nature. And you can make it yourself. Like we have milk goats, so they take part in our soap making. Our soap making involves real pig fat and real goat's milk. Like these are old school things that have just been lost due to civilization and things like that. And again, like Nonni was saying down there, and I do encourage you guys to get on over here and check out her page as well, because she does have a bunch of do-it-yourself and old school recipes and fermenting and stuff. Like that's something I'm really into. I make fermented hot sauces and fermented drinks and stuff like that. Like fermented foods are great for your stomach health. Like if you've got stomach health, start looking into fermented foods. And
I believe she also makes fermented chicken food. Am I right? This is going back maybe a year.
Ooh. That's what I was going to throw in here is part of the thing. How I got started on TikTok was trying to teach people that it's equally as important what you put in your body as what you put into the food that you eat. So my little saying on my page is, you are what you eat eats. And so I try and show people the natural way to feed animals and keep them healthy without all the garbage. And I went through and studied the AVCO manual for several years. I've been studying the AVCO manual, which is the Association of Animal Feed Control Officials. And anytime you buy a bag of dog food or whatever, it'll say AVCO, not certified, but AVCO approved. Mm-hmm. And if you could read what is acceptable ingredients in animal food, it's so much worse than people food.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
It is disgusting garbage.
They have done terrible things to our animals. I believe. And
they benefit off that too when it comes to dogs needing allergy pills now and things like that. Like, do you remember having to give your dog an allergy pill back in the 80s?
Absolutely not.
I sure as hell don't.
People ask me all the time about one thing I've been asked quite a bit about my chickens is like, are your chickens up to date on their shots? And I'm like, I don't take shots myself. Why would I give shots to my chicken?
Right.
What's wrong with you? Like that's like it's just crazy to me, because there is so many man medicines that are given to animals now, and I just find that weird. Like my dog, we don't do the whole flea treatment pill, this, that, and the other. My grandfather taught me, this is going back to him years ago, if the dog's itching or seeming like he's got flea, dip him in the used oil barrel that's out in the backyard and let him run it off, and he won't have fleas the rest of the year.
Yep.
And people are like, that's animal abuse. I'm like, how? I just dipped him in used motor oil. It's cold. It's just sitting in a barrel. It's just
used motor oil.
Yeah. It was something that we were taught.
I've heard gasoline before, but I never.
Used motor oil is great for keeping the fleas off of them, and it's great for their coat too. So it's just again, reusing things that we have, that, because I am the first person that will go dumpster diving and build something out of garbage. Like I do not hesitate. Like I have.
I'm the same way.
Working in appliances, I have a scrap pile in the back corner of my yard that I take things from on a constant basis to do Lord knows what, from costume building to animal stuff to everything, because I'm all over the place.
That's me and my husband too. We are both like DIY everything. If there's something we could fix it up on the side of the road, we will take it home and we will fix it up and resell it online. Things like that. We love it.
If you can't fix it yourself and you can't build it yourself, you probably don't need it. Which this is back to some of those great words that my grandfather was a very wise man. Like he was a great inspiration. He was really the only man I had in my life. My father left us on the side of the road literally when I was 9 years old.
Sorry to hear that.
And so, my grandfather was always there for us, and he taught me a lot of great things that I took to the heart, and I try to teach that stuff to my kids and to everybody else, because I look back at a lot of the little weird sayings he had and a lot of the things that he would say sometimes, and I'll have those moments where it'll go through my head and I'll hear him saying it and I'm just like, well, damn, that's what he meant. Because it'll just come to me all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And
I feel the same way about my Uncle Jack. My Uncle Jack was in World War II and he was like a fighter pilot. He was a pilot. Yeah. And I feel like I have an appreciation for history because of him. So I probably wouldn't even have known about Victory Gardens if it weren't for him. So,
well, hey,
just like you're saying,
I thank you for reviving him. Like I think that's amazing. Like,
yeah, we have what, 20 million on our hashtag now, the Grow Food Now hashtag. Nice. And that's after. So when I started getting shadow banned the first time, I said, what do I need to do in order to make sure this sticks, right? Like this has to stick. Right. So I came up with Grow Food Now because I started out as Victory Gardens Revival.
Sure.
And then I said, you know what? I'm going to start a hashtag. It's going to be Grow Food Now. I'm going to encourage everyone to join it. Podcasters, artists, people making media, actors, everybody to join just hashtag Grow Food Now. And there are so many people still in there after my account got deleted that it doesn't even faze me, because now they go in there and they're still just gardening videos and people teaching them how to, take care of themselves and stuff like that. So really, really thankful for that. I want to do a little plug here for my friend's app.
Okay.
My friend Tara has been working on this app called Farmish.
Yes.
Farmish is a Craigslist for people like us. It's for homesteaders. It's for people who want to buy eggs from somebody in their community instead of from the grocery store. And it's bogging down right now because there are so many people joining it and posting that she's having a little bit of issues with the launch of it because so many people are on it.
Website that I'm seeing here.
What was that?
Farmish. I found a website.
And there's
there are other people that use the Farmish name as well, but this is an app in the App Store, and it moved up the ranking so fast that I believe it was number 43 in the App Store. She has been working really, really hard to get that app going. I've watched her the whole way. She supported me. She is the first person you see in the Grow Food Now hashtag.
Is it?
And yes, that's it right there. She's doing a great job. The app right now is bogging down, but we promise this app is going to work amazing. It has a map. So you put in your location, it has a map. It's going to show you everyone around you that is selling things. This is garden supplies. These are eggs, all kinds of things. So
milk.
When people say that they don't know how to connect with a community that can sell them these things, buy, trade, and barter from other people, this is the solution. This app right here.
This is fantastic, and I will make sure that everybody can find the link to this as well on this episode, because for those that are out there listening and can't see what I just shared, I was showing where the app was, and I'm gonna make sure this link's here because I think this is something that's great, and I'm gonna start plugging this too.
There's a second one that I'm gonna plug. It's called Farmer's Bazaar. That is another friend who is creating the same kind of app. So there are people who are actually working for food access right now, and I just want to tell them that they are absolute heroes when it comes to in the future when we're going to need this stuff.
No, you are absolutely correct. And this is great information. And I'll make sure that you guys out there that are listening get into this. And I would like to hop back around over here to Aurela. Is there anything else you would like to cover that we did not cover this evening?
I just want to encourage people that people ask me all the time, how do I start? I want to start my healing journey. How do I start? I always say start small. You cannot jump and do everything in one day, in 1 week, or 1 month. Start small. Start with the thing that is less resistance for you, that is easy for you to do. Because when you do that and you feel accomplished, then you're gonna go do the next step. Because change is it's difficult sometimes, but when you accomplish something, so start small. And I always say too that find the root cause type of. What I mean with that is that everything that happens with our bodies, there is a root cause. It could be your diet is bad. It could be that you are in a very stressful environment. Like when I was in my last relationship, I was in a toxic relationship. And like I said, I was eating healthy and everything, and I got sick. And I'm like, I'm doing everything right. But then I realized that relationship was keeping me toxic. My body was toxic because I was in a toxic environment. And when I left, everything disappeared. I healed completely, almost. So find the root cause. Is the stress. It's your emotional, like how you deal with your emotions. And your self-realization, do you know who you are? Are you happy with yourself? How you talk to yourself? So when you know the root cause, you take that first, start small, 1 baby step at a time, and then go from there.
That's great advice.
We can all do it. We can all do it. I say if I do it, we can all do it. We have the power to heal.
Little bit goes a long way. A little bit every day. Learn something new every day and make that your motto.
If you're not learning something new every day, then you ain't living. That's the way I feel. So
exactly.
So, and Nonni, is there anything else you'd like to add into the evening before we close out?
Oh, I don't know. Just don't think people who want to do things heal themselves are crazy.
Hey, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, no, some of the best people I met are people that live off of the land. I've spent many years in many different places. I've been all over this country. I've been outside this country. I've met a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of people, and you're more rich in life if you're closer connected to Earth than you are with stuff. And it's a hard lesson for a lot of people to learn, and it's a hard thing for a lot of people to swallow, and that's fine. And eventually I know you're going to be over here with us and understanding what we're trying to say and the things we're trying to explain to you, because if you're not there yet, it's going to hit you eventually, or you're going to come across it in your journey of waking up. I like to say that everybody's at a different level, and I continue to do the stuff that I do because there's one person out there that this show tonight is going to touch, and it's going to wake them up. So. And that one mind is what I'm working at, one mind at a time. Just like Morpheus says, like you just got to do your best to
that's
make
what
up
I
one
do
person
too.
at a time. And
that's right.
And I really, really appreciate you guys coming on this evening and talking about all this herbalist stuff. I know it was kind of chaotic, and this is just the kind of fun we like to have here. I'll make sure that all of your links are shared so that all the people out there listening and watching can come and find you fabulous women. And I hope you do come back to sit here and talk crazy nonsense with me sometime in the future as well.
I'd love to, yeah.
Fantastic.
Thanks for inviting me on. I didn't expect it. It was very short notice, but I was like, yes, I've been watching this guy for a couple of years now. Let me go on the show.
Thank you. And for everybody out there, if you've noticed, I finally got the Unconstitutional Awakening podcast shirt. We finally have merch. You guys make sure you check it out on the website and in my page links and stuff like that. You guys can get Unconstitutional Awakening shirts. We've got shirts for my flag finally, and we've also got shirts for just the website Unconstitutional Awakening. You guys make sure y'all get out there and check that out. You guys make sure you get out there and check out these lovely ladies' TikToks and websites that I'll be sharing with you guys. And we hope to see y'all again. We hope to see these ladies again, and I'll see y'all next time on Unconstitutional Awakening. Everybody have a great night.
Bye, guys.
Oh.